Looking for an edge in the fantasy football arena? Not sure which talking head to trust? Why not watch for yourself how today's heroes stack up in a head-to-head battle where the fans will decide their fate. Let's see what makes these elite gladiators so deadly, and maybe even find out if there's any chinks in their armor. This week's matchup features two young players who have already shown out at the NFL level.
Garrett Wilson is definitely on the smaller side for a wide receiver and succeeds in spite of his size. His wingspan is average for a wide receiver, allowing him to go get the ball despite his limited stature. The upside of limited size tends to be increased speed, and Wilson is no exception. His 4.3840 is impressive, but his 10-yard split time shows that his acceleration from a full stop is downright elite. This sort of short-range twitchiness is particularly difficult for defenders to handle. In the broad and vertical jumps, Wilson performed well, though not nearly as well as the 40. His numbers were solid, but not noteworthy enough to use for drawing many conclusions. Overall, Wilson profiles as a slim speedster with solid functional reach, a dangerous archetype that has seen a lot of success over the history of the NFL. Like Wilson, St. Brown doesn't stand out from a crowd in terms of stature. He is at or near the bottom third of receivers in height, weight, and wingspan, which could be considered limiting for his ceiling as a wide receiver 1. Unlike Wilson, Amon-Ra is extremely slow for a wide receiver. His 40-yard dash shows a player who will need to use his other tools to win in the NFL. His numbers on the broad and vertical jump were much better, putting him comfortably in the top fifth of the wide receivers and suggesting the sort of power and athleticism that doesn't translate directly to speed. Overall, Amon-Ra is fairly athletic, but extremely unimpressive in terms of size and speed. This basically dictates that his routes to the NFL success will need to be through techniques and skills, the kind of things you might refer to as a weapon of choice. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the premier route runners in the NFL today. He separates effortlessly from defenders and constantly makes himself open, and in many cases this separation is created by the use of explosiveness. Amon-Ra is one of the best in the league at changing direction, with burst and coming in and out of breaks in his routes cleanly and efficiently. His crisp, explosive route running forces defenders to react quickly and consistently generate separation, which gives his quarterback a reliably open target. His abilities as an explosive route technician make things difficult enough for opponents, but he becomes even more of a nightmare when you consider his elusiveness. Amon-Ra has a famous work ethic and is known for fanatically practicing technique, and this has allowed him to develop a refined and polished bag of tricks for avoiding defenders. St. Brown is a master of disguising his route with head fakes and making defenders bite on misdirection moves before the ball is released, leaving him wide open and creating the potential for a big play. His elusiveness is equally dangerous when he has the ball in the open field. He uses everything from perfectly timed jukes to subtle hesitation moves to break tackles, turning short receptions into first downs that extend drives. It isn't often that a defender is able to stay with St. Brown, but many times it doesn't even matter if they are. The ball is attracted to him as if by magnetism. Like most star wide receivers, Amon-Ra has an alpha mentality. This allows him the natural ability to attack, come down with, and maintain control of the football. His role in the offense means he catches a lot of passes over the middle, tracking the ball with instinct and plucking it out of the traffic with sure hands. His natural feel for the ball helps him time his leaps and reel in acrobatic circus catches. All told, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a dream target. He's always open. He converts first downs, and he can be trusted to make the difficult catches. Now in his second year with an explosive new offense, these skills could easily translate into a leap to superstardom. Now let's take a look at Garrett Wilson, another player looking to become a superstar this season. Speed kills, and Wilson's impressive 40 time tells us that he is fast. He also has a more unique sort of speed. His short distance acceleration is among the best in the league and catches opponents off guard, which allows him to create separation and get open quickly. His long speed is less elite but still an effective weapon, and he can take one to the house if given the opportunity. He is able to outrun most defenders, but when he cannot, Wilson does equally well by employing his elusiveness. Like St. Brown, Wilson is a master at evading defenders to get open or avoid being tackled. He takes smart angles and makes defenders look foolish using highlight reel jukes and generally looks like a big play waiting to happen. He uses everything from cutbacks to spin moves to lose opponents and gain extra yardage. Wilson dominated defenders during his rookie year using impressive skills, and they have reason to be excited about him as a player moving forward. But that's not the only reason that Garrett Wilson is one of the hottest topics in football. Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet, and Garrett Wilson is his top wide receiver. Last season was a tragedy of missed opportunity for Wilson, who frequently found himself open and realized his quarterback couldn't get him the ball. A combination of uncatchable passes and unnoticed opportunities severely limited his production. On the flip side, Rodgers has a history of feeding receivers who earn it and supports elite fantasy seasons. Wilson looks poised to benefit from maybe the biggest quarterback upgrade a receiver has ever gotten. Wilson has special skills that have yet to be fully utilized in the NFL, and there is reason to believe that they now will be. If you think Wilson is what he seems and Rodgers is still Rodgers, this season could be very special. There are, of course, things that could bring down both Wilson and St. Brown. Now let's take a look at their Achilles heel. Like many freak athletes and speed demons, Wilson can be fairly dependent on his natural gifts to help him separate from defenders. Unsurprisingly, this has led to some pretty raw routes. When he is unsuccessful in separating with his initial burst, Wilson struggles to get open due to his inefficient and sloppy route running and can be blanketed by a good defender. On the other end of the spectrum, we have St. Brown. Like Wilson, he's never going to dominate on a purely athletic level due to his basic build. St. Brown is an explosive and powerful athlete relative to his frame, but for an NFL receiver, he will always be small and slow. He can be caught from behind on plays where a faster receiver would have scored. He can perfect every skill that can be perfected, but the limits of his physical body provide the ceiling for his production. Worthy combatants both, but in the end, only one can walk out of the arena victorious. Would you rather have the mystery box youngster whose true potential may have been masked and who now plays with the Hall of Fame quarterback? Or would you rather have the locked-in number one from an explosive offense poised to improve with the experience of a second year? Would you rather have the twitchy speed demon who is impossible for a defender to run with? Or would you rather have the elite route technician who is impossible for a defender to follow?
Become more than just a spectator in the Fantasy Coliseum by leaving your best comments, thumbs up or thumbs down, for your favorite heroes. The fate of today's gladiators lies in your hands for Season 2. Press subscribe now for more excitement, entertainment from Football Moxie.